I'm Sao Fang!
Wait, I thought you were Davy Jones.
No, I'm obviously Sao Fang, you hippie!
Captain Jack is back in the latest installment of Disney's swashbuckling franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean. This time around, there are two directors. Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush return as Captains Jack Sparrow and Hector Barbosa, respectively. Also, Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley return as Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann after their hiatus from On Stranger Tides. There are also a couple of new faces, including the undead Captain Salazar and the all-new leads, Henry Turner and Karina Smith. I'm Andrew, aka Black Swan Productions.
And I'm Evan, aka G-Tubs.
And this is our review of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. So this movie begins several years after On Stranger Tides. Jack Sparrow is still having tough luck. No ship, no treasure, and no crew. In a fit of depression, he gives away his magical compass for a bottle of rum. The compass then releases Jack's worst fear. His oldest enemy, Captain Salazar, is released from the Devil's Triangle.
Whoa!
And he seeks vengeance upon Jack for trapping him there.
That's crazy.
Jack realizes the only thing that can save him from Salazar is to find the Trident of Poseidon, a magical relic that can break any curse in the sea. Jack seeks to use it to free Salazar of his curse and defeat him, but he requires help from the two new characters, Henry Turner and Karina Smith. Henry secretly wants the Trident to free his father, Will, from the Flying Dutchman, and Karina Smith seeks the Trident to complete the scientific work of her mysterious father, whom she never knew. So, this movie, just like the previous four pirate films that are displayed back here, features outstanding visual effects. The undead army definitely looks very realistic and scary. And also, there is lots of swashbuckling action throughout to please those who really love action. And if you're worried that Jack Sparrow's lost his comedy, don't be. There's plenty of laughable moments throughout. What the heck are you doing?
I'm shooting my pistol.
You just shut the camera, dude.
No, I didn't. I don't see any marks.
Oh,
No marks.
oh you did. You missed. You hit the TV behind it.
No!
I also really enjoyed the acting performance of Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush, but what really stole it away for me was the character of Salazar. He's very merciless and intimidating, an aspect that's enhanced by the performance of Javier Bardem. The character of Salazar really helps this film feel more intense and suspenseful. And I also like the backstory part that is played about halfway throughout the film when it shows the flashbacks of his origins and all that.
That is very good.
It really does help form the character. And I also like the visual effect that they did to Johnny Depp to make him look younger.
Yeah, it looks really realistic.
It did look realistic, and it was taken from Captain America Civil War, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that they brought back Will and Elizabeth, not just because I like those characters personally, but I also think it helps add to the character of Henry. I think that it really helped make him, you know where he's coming from, you know why he's really after the Trident and all that. And the plot does feature an interesting twist, which we'll not mention because of spoiler alert. And it does also have a great climax at the end and a great resolution at the end. Although, Disney has made no big secret to the fact that they're going to continue the franchise with another film due to the after-credit scene.
Yes.
One thing, though, that I did not like, I did not care entirely for the characters of Henry and Karina. I didn't think that they were as good as Will and Elizabeth from the first film. I mean, they're not, I wouldn't say that they're bad, but they weren't as memorable to me.
I think they're a little bland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they have plenty of screen time and some depth, but yeah, they're not as interesting as some of the previous characters in the franchise.
It wasn't as interesting as the Will and Elizabeth from the first one. I also thought that some of the comedic bits were a little bit over the top. I did not care for the sequence where the pirates on the horses are towing that whole house throughout the town.
I thought that was actually pretty good.
I thought it was a little bit too odd. I thought it was, it was a little bit too, it was too silly for me.
Well, I love that scene, bro.
Wow.
That was some great action with Jack Sparrow. I thought it was hilarious. They stole the whole bank, and the house just went with it. I thought that was funny.
I mean, it was funny, but it was kind of, I thought it was a little bit too silly.
I don't know what he's talking about. I love that scene.
Well, you might not also like that. I didn't care for the sequence where they're on the island. The whole, where they get captured on that island. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that scene
Barbosa has to save them.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was again trying to be funny, but I think it got a little bit too odd. I mean,
yeah, one of my favorite scenes was the ones where they were in the water and all those sharks were jumping up.
Yeah, that was
a good action scene.
That was a good action scene too. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because that was an action scene that did work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I was telling you about the climax bit with the final battle.
Yeah, where the whole water split.
Oh yeah,
that was a good action.
That was a good action sequence right there. And I also felt that in terms of the plot, it was kind of a mixed bag. It definitely felt to me a bit similar to the first one.
Yeah,
it felt like we had kind of been there before.
They
been
reused
there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah, they reused some elements from previous films.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the plot. But it does seem in most of these Pirates films, the plot is going to find something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to find the treasure, which is a good plot. But when it gets overused, it gets a little old. It gets a little stale.
Exactly. And I think also making it too similar, it gives the whole opinion that you've been there, you've done that. It's kind of like they're doing it again. And also a common complaint about the Pirates films is that the plot is a bit hard to follow. It took me watching it twice to really figure out the plot, which is another problem that I have with this, is that you have to watch it twice to get it. And I had the same complaint about At World's End, and I know you did.
I think that this one, for me, it wasn't really hard to follow. It definitely helps watching a second time. But At World's End, oh my gosh, that is really hard to follow for me. Like, if I watched that 5 times, I still wouldn't know what the heck is going on.
I've watched it at least 5 times, but I figured it out eventually.
You did?
And I would also recommend that when you watch movies like this with a bit more ambiguous plots, it does help to watch them with subtitles, because then you can really get what they're saying, and it definitely helps you understand everything really well.
Yeah.
But overall, the combination of good casting, good action, and good comedy helped this film to be, in my opinion, an improvement over On Stranger Tides. I actually did not like that film at all. I thought it was a big drop from the previous 3. But I think that this one they've brought it back up. I wouldn't say it's as good as those first 3, but I would say it's better than On Stranger Tides. And I think Disney has definitely succeeded in reviving my interest in the franchise, because I went into when I was going into that movie, I felt that I didn't have high hopes for it. I didn't think it was going to be good, because I'd heard a lot of initial criticism for it, and I didn't think it was going in. I didn't think it was going to be as good, but I came out more impressed than I thought it was, and I overall recommend this movie.
Me too, especially if you are a Pirates fan. If you've seen the first 4 and you enjoyed most of them, there's no reason to skip this one. This one is great. To me, it feels similar to the original, just to me.
Yeah.
Like, it has the same feeling as the first 2, which I really liked about it.
Yeah.
A few things I liked the special effects, the CGI was pretty good. Salazar is my favorite Pirates villain.
Really?
I loved the way he looked. I loved how he was ruthless. He had no mercy.
I like the bit where he comes, where he is interrogating Barbosa, and he says, "Every time I will tap my sword, one of your men will die. So speak now." And then, ah! And then we see Barbosa's like too stunned to speak, and he goes,
"Might want to go a bit faster, Capitan."
That can really tell the tension in that scene.
It is definitely really well. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to mention?
Let me see my notes. So I like the action. I thought some of the action scenes in this movie were the best of the franchise, in my opinion.
I think so.
I also think it was really enjoyable for me. It was a fun ride, fun movie. It was
definitely a fun ride.
I didn't get bored during this movie at all. Like, there was no exposition scenes that got me bored.
There was some, I think in some of the break sequences, it did get a little bit slow, but not off-puttingly so.
Yeah, another thing I had was the backstory. I also like the score, the main theme.
Yeah, that's another good part. That was something I forgot to mention, was that the music score, Hans Zimmer always does a good music score.
And also, the cinematography was really good. The way it was shot, the action. A few of the things I put that I didn't like were, of course, the bland characters of Henry and Karina. They were a little boring.
Yeah, exactly.
They're repetitive. And I thought the first 30 minutes or something was a little skippy.
That was another thing that I wanted
yeah.
to mention, is that the first 30 minutes, I felt the exact same way going into that.
But I thought as the movie progressed, the pacing got a lot better.
It did.
Faster
definitely.
paced. Really good.
Yeah, and I think overall they kept the running time at a good
2 hours.
At a good 2 hours, and that's, I think, better than At World's End's 3 hours.
3 hours for a Pirates movie? I don't think so, Johnny.
You know that was expensive, right?
Yeah, I know that. So, what are you thinking to do now?
Well, do you want to compare it to the Rotten Tomatoes score and see if it is deserving of Rotten Tomatoes score?
Yes. So, pull out my phone, and let's see what this movie has on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, let's see. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell Tales. I mean, no tales.
No.
All right. My goodness! 30% on Rotten Tomatoes?
30%?
30%. That is considered rotten.
Well, there you go. I would not consider this movie rotten. I think that a lot of the critics feel that this series has run its course.
I don't know.
I don't know. After On Stranger Tides, I was feeling that way. But
Yeah.
with this one, it's revived my interest. I don't know how the sixth one is going to be, but who knows?
I do not think this movie deserves 30%. I
do
could
not
see
think
it
so
like
either.
60 or 70%, but definitely not 30. I think it deserves to be maybe not certified fresh, but like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I think this kind of reintroduced the franchise back after the fourth one. I liked the fourth one. I thought it was not as good as some of the others. It felt a little different, but I feel like this one did a great job, so it does not deserve 30%. Get those Rotten Tomato people out of here and into the dumpster.
I know. Sometimes critics, you can't agree always with what critics do, because sometimes when you look at one critic that I saw that actually reviewed At World's End, which he just threw in the trash can, was this is what he said: This is how the movie biz works. Critics will give bad opinions. The public usually has a different opinion, but all's fair and well because the Hollywood studios made their millions anyway, so they don't care.
All right, so now the final thing we're going to be doing is we are going to give you the rating out of 10 stars. 10 being the best.
Out of 10. All right.
So, what do you think this deserves out of 10 stars?
Out of 10, I would give this a 7. A solid 7.
Interesting. Because guess what? I give it a 7 as well!
So we agree.
Yes, the first time I watched it, I didn't like it as much as the second time I watched it.
Watching it again did help. And that's another thing you need to know from what we've discovered with movies, is that when you watch it the first time, your first impression usually will probably not be as good as your second impression.
Yeah, it helps to watch it again because then you know where everything is going.
Exactly.
You know how all the plots are going to pay off.
Exactly. And when you know when certain things are coming, you know to look for it. Because you might just miss it first time around. So overall, we agreed on that. So overall, we both recommend Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yes, especially if you're a Pirates fan, but if you're an action-adventure movie fan, still watch this.
I would still recommend it, yes. So that's it for today. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more movie reviews. And make sure to leave a like and drop a comment below telling us what you thought about the movie, if you've seen it, whether you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
And as always, we will see you at the next movie night.
Yeah. Bye!
Bye!